It's August 12th. This is a progress report on pipes in QBasic on the tablet, the Nexus 7 tablet using Android. So okay, I can put in where I want obstructions. Okay, so I was fiddling around. There's 1, 2, 3. I ought to have a way to erase them probably. I'm going to start here, like the 5 by 5, and I'm going to put obstructions or obstacles right around the starting position so that it really can only go north starting. Okay. Okay, now that's where the obstructions are going to be. So I tap here. That puts in the starting position, and then it's going to put in the obstructions in blue. Okay, tap screen to begin. Now it's just going to start going north, and then it goes, when it can't go north, it goes east, and when it can't go east, it goes south. When it can't go south, it goes west. And when it's done going west, then it gets out of the 4 next loop it's in, or the recursion or something, if I can figure it out. Okay, so it's just looking around, and it's already found a pipe 24 long, counting itself, counting the initial square. So that's pretty good in like a minute or whatever. 2 minutes maybe. So maybe we should just limit the time to 10 seconds. You know, you got 10 seconds. The computer's going to do it randomly or kind of systematically. But you get 10 seconds or something like that. And how would a human do? I think if those obstructions are placed properly, you can kind of tell ahead of time. Anyway, it's just, you know, trying. I had to put in a little delay. I could keep. I see lots of errors or things I could improve right now. I could add a timer. I could add. This is the 4 next loop. There's 64 4 next loops in there, and this is the first 4 next loop. And when that gets to 4, when that one's 4 and that one's 4. But that's, I don't need that anymore. This 89, I don't need anymore. The 24 is the longest pipe it's found so far. And I'm not going to bore you running this thing, although after a while you begin to see the patterns. So anyway, I'll stop now and continue later. Okay, just to break in here, it's up to 26. But after a while, it's interesting to kind of watch it, but after a while it just seems like it's stupid. It ought to realize, don't go there, don't even bother going there. And it just keeps doing sort of the same stuff over again. And what becomes really obvious is, don't bother up here. You know, here's where the points are, here's where the squares are. But you get up in here, and if it starts messing around up in here, and it's not going to get very many. But then I noticed that you can go up in there and get one little, you know, string of them, like 7 extra squares there. So it's actually, it will discover that when it's up here in the second square, and instead of going north, it'll go west. When it goes west, then it's going to discover that, and it's going to jump way up. But it just keeps doing a lot of the same stuff over and over again, and that there ought to be a way to have it not do that. Like, don't even bother going up in here. This is going to be part of it. It's like all this is going to be red, but so is this thing right here. This thing right here. But this is all red, and you can see that's how he's got to do it. But it probably takes more than 10 seconds to see that. So I think there's 19 obstructions here. The 64 squares, so like there's 44 empty squares, and he's going to get 34, I think, is the maximum length. He's not going to discover it yet. I watched this thing and I think it took like a half an hour, so I'm just going to redo it. But it just becomes kind of, it's not boring, it's kind of fun to watch, but you just, when it starts making the same mistakes over, you begin to see the way to do it. And it might be possible to include that in its programming somehow, like. So anyway, okay. Try to catch it near the end. One thing that's kind of fun to watch is when it goes backwards. Okay. Okay, now he's started going further north, and he sees this spot here, and he's going to be exploring up in here. But he doesn't need to, and it becomes real obvious. I just want to tell him, you're wasting your time. There's not that many open squares up there. But at least he's now found this loop. But this is where the squares are. Whoops. So it's this, and he can fill all of these in pretty much, and this, and then a loop around that. But he's not even heading west yet from that second square. So it's got a ways to go. You don't need to even look up there, fella. I mean, there's not that many squares up there. But it's exhaustive, so it goes through. And there ought to be a way to make it kind of not go to certain places, because there just aren't that many available squares. Okay, it's got a ways to go. Take another break. Well, I think it's found 32 right now. And that's what it's going to kind of look like. It's still got a long way to go. It started at 6:30. But that's about what it's going to look like, but with some squares, some empty squares filled in. Now it's been 20 to 25 minutes so far, so probably takes a half an hour for him to do this. He's got 32. And he's got the right idea. He's just got to fill in all these squares over in here. I guess probably those two squares there, I think he can fill in. He can go up there. And he can get at least 2 more squares. Anyway, after a while of watching him, like maybe after 15 minutes or so, I could figure out what's going to be the longest path, and I just counted it out. I think I got it. I predicted 32, and that's what it came, 34, and it came up with 34. It's kind of going backwards, but now it's got to do some more. So it's getting there. It has filled in all these squares, so it's got to get that one and that one. Yeah, 34. It's up to 34 right now. So that's about the best. The light will probably go out just as it does it. But it shows me for a little bit the longest pipe, and then it prints it out. I should fix it so that it won't quit. I think I've got to pause for like 10 seconds. I should make that a touch. But it has found the longest pipe, 34. Now, that was about it right there. Oh, now it's missing 4. That's only 30. It should also show the current length of the pipe too. It's backtracking. Well, now it's going forward again. I think it's getting kind of close. Well, enough of that. It's been almost a half an hour now. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. That's about the best it can do. That's it. There it is, 34. And that's the list of the squares. Here also, and those were the current square, its track and its levels, the level it was at. I guess when it stopped or something. And that's the longest pipe, the squares are the longest pipe. Okay, that's it.